Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today I have something very special for you because we are in the midst of early access for Pioneer Masters, which is bringing all of the most relevant Pioneer cards from the Tier 1 and Tier 2 meta decks in Pioneer to Arena, finally, so that Explorer can pretty much match Pioneer as far as the competitive decks are concerned, which is kind of exciting. I don't play a lot of Explorer, but I'm excited to dive in, and this deck in particular is one I've been really excited to finally be able to play on Arena. This one is called Niv to Light, and it revolves around a new card coming in Pioneer Masters, which is called Bring to Light, that allows us to get insane value, have a crazy toolbox of things we can search up, and be able to cast not one, but two different Niv-Mizzets. The deck's nuts. If you know anything about Pioneer, you know how crazy this can be, and I'm excited to give it a whirl. So we're going to very quickly break down the deck and get to the gameplay. Before I do, please like the video. Help me get this video out to so many more people. It means so much to me. I would appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss an upload. And be sure to catch me Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn. Because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. In fact, if you catch this before 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, I will be still streaming early access for Pioneer Masters right up until they shut off the servers at 1 p.m. So be sure to pop on by, say hello, and see what kind of crazy decks we're cooking up for Pioneer. I'll see you there. Let's break down the deck. So this is Niv to Light, one of the new decks that's finally available to play on Arena now that all of the most important missing pieces from the Pioneer meta are a part of Arena now. They came in Pioneer Masters here, which I was able to play during early access and run this deck, and it was wild. Two key cards in this deck that we were missing that we now have because of Pioneer Masters, and essentially the Explorer format has become Pioneer on Arena in all but actual name. There are some missing cards, but none of the most important cards, none of the cards that are needed for all of the Tier 1 and Tier 2 meta decks. This deck revolves around Bring to Light. It's 5 mana in the colors of Simic, has Converge. You get to search your library for a creature, instant, or sorcery card with mana value less than or equal to the number of colors of mana spent to cast it. Then you exile the card and get to play it without paying its mana cost. So you can find a number of important value plays with Bring to Light. We have a whole toolbox of removal. This is basically a tap-out control deck, so we have a ton of removal. We try to sort of split up the different types of removal we have so that we have access to as many different kinds as possible with this sort of toolbox scenario. We also try to split up the different color pairs we use for all of our key removal and some of our win conditions so that we can get the absolute most value off the most important card we're finding with Bring to Light, which is also the namesake of this deck, Niv to Light, which is Niv-Mizzet Reborn. Comes in as a 6/6 flyer. Remember, we get to cast this for free if we find it off Bring to Light, as long as we've spent all 5 colors to cast it. And when it enters the battlefield, we get to look at the top 10 cards of our library, and for each color pair, choose a card that's exactly those colors and put it into our hand. So the more different color pairs we have among cards we can find, the more value we can get into our hand. So it's really, really important to pay close attention to what color pairs the cards you're using are, and to very carefully min-max and balance out exactly how much of each you have to increase your odds of getting the most value off a Niv-Mizzet Reborn. We also have the ability to find our one copy of Niv-Mizzet Supreme, which is a 5/5 flying hexproof from monocolored, and each instant and sorcery card in our graveyard that's exactly 2 colors has Jumpstart. So a little bit later in the game, after we've used a bunch of that value up and it's all sitting in our graveyard, well, now we can tutor up a Niv-Mizzet Supreme, cast it for free, and start replaying everything from our graveyard just by discarding a card for each card that we play, which can be absolutely insane value in the right circumstances. The other super important card that we can tutor up with Bring to Light is one copy of Valki, God of Lies. And it's really cool how this one works, because technically this is a 2-cost creature while Bring to Light is searching the deck for it. so it can find it thinking it's only 2 cost. But then once we do find it and we get the ability to cast it for free, it asks us which side we want to play, and at that point it doesn't care how much the card costs anymore, so we're actually able to pick the back side, Tibalt Cosmic Imposter, even though it's 7 mana. So not only do we get to play this out, get this Planeswalker out that's 7 mana by only paying 5 mana, but we get to actually play a Planeswalker off of Bring to Light when normally we can only find creatures, instants, and sorceries. And we can actually get that onto the battlefield and use this to just leverage a ton of value and take over the game. So we have a lot of really crazy cool options. The rest of the deck, in addition to a bunch of removal like Lightning Helix, Abrupt Decay, Vanishing Verse, is a bunch of Silver Bullet tutor targets. Like we already talked about the one Valky. We've got one Deafening Clarion to clear the board early. We've got Knight of Autumn for some versatility and some artifact and enchantment removal. We've got Kolaghan's Command to maybe get back our Niv-Mizzet or get back our Valky, while also giving us a bunch of extra value, being able to make them discard, kill artifacts, kill a small creature, things like that. We're running 4 up the Beanstalk for card advantage because we're going to be making a lot of 5 mana plays after this hits the battlefield. But we're also running Yorion as a commander, an 80 card deck to get the absolute most value. Since this deck is constantly drawing so many cards and getting so much value, we need the deck to be as big as possible, and making it an 80 card deck instead of a 60 card deck lets us get access to Yorion kinda for free, and then we get to flicker things to get extra value. Like we could flicker that Niv-Mizzet Reborn to look at the top 10 and put a bunch of cards into our hand again, which is nuts. And it also works well with Up the Beanstalk. In addition, we've got 2 Ancient Cornucopia to help us ramp and to keep our life total high. We've got 4 Fable of the Mirror Breaker because it's just the most insane card ever printed, and it gives us an insane amount of value. And a little bit of extra value sometimes if we flicker it in the right circumstances, which is really, really nice. We're running 1 Hostage Taker as something that we can tutor up when we're in a pinch and need it. Elenda, Saint of Dusk is another insane win condition in this because it has hexproof from instants, and most removal that isn't in the form of a sweeper is in the form of instants in Pioneer, so this is almost just hexproof. And we gain so much life in this deck that honestly most of the time this is just a 10/10 lifelink menace and can close out a game super quick. 4 Leyline Bindings because it's just insane, and since this is a 5-color deck, it's almost always going to only cost 1 mana at instant speed. Absolutely nuts. We've got 1 Sunfall to tutor up if we're in a pinch and need to wipe the board. And then we've got 2 copies of Omnath. We can tutor this up. It's much better if it comes out early, especially before we play Fabled Passage, of which we have 4. Because we can get double triggers off the landfall and not only gain 4 life on the first trigger, but get 4 mana off the second trigger. It also draws us a card when it enters. Omnath is just insane, and it gives us a ton of value, so it makes sense to just include it in the deck. And then the last card is another brand new card in Pioneer Masters that is finally on Arena and can finally be a part of the Explorer format, and that's Sylvan Caryatid. This is a 0/3 defender with hexproof for 1 green and 1, and it can tap to add a mana of any color. Now, normally 2 mana dorks aren't good enough, but this having hexproof is what makes it insane. This is such good ramp because it's so hard for our opponent to remove it. They need to kill it with creature removal, but they need to kill it with creature removal that is not targeted. And most sweepers are going to cost enough mana that by the time they can remove this, it's already ramped us to key plays. So, love seeing Sylvan Caryatid coming into Arena. But that's the deck. The mana base is very specific, so if you're interested in the exact deck list, it will be in the description. So check that out. And without further ado, let's just check out the games. Man, I'm really tempted to keep this. We're only 1 mana away from playing the Fable. But we don't have white unless we get lucky. So it's very risky. Let's just try it. We just need to top deck a land. No big deal. No big deal. No big deal. Piece of cake. Just top deck a land. Everything's fine. See? Told you. Everything is fine. Everything will work out. Alright? Believe in the heart of the cards. Arena's not going to let us lose to Ali Eldrazi. Right? Believe it. Believe in it. Do we Deafening Clarion? Nah. Nah, we definitely want a Fable. This ramps out our ability to play the Bring to Light. Alright, we've got a Nissa. Well, now we probably do. Right? Let's dump... Let's dump our targeted removal. Because we can bring it back with Jumpstart later if we need to. Play a land. Swing. Get a treasure. And then we're going to be really mean. After that. Be really mean. And Deafening Clarion. And now we have the treasure for next turn, so even if we don't get a land, we can Bring to Light. The question is, do we want Tibalt or do we want Niv? Honestly, kind of think we want Tibalt. Kind of think we want Tibalt. Not lying. Do that.
Trickery is just a hobby.
Let's do that. Spelunking, sure. Sure. We'll go Plains. We'll go Uptick. See what we get. Escape to the Wilds. We don't want to play that yet, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just get a little crazy. We're going to go Cornucopia. Cornucopium. Fable. Gain a life. Make another dude. Make a copy. Swing, make a treasure. Let's see. He's grabbing some land. What does he want to do? He's gonna play Bring to Light. Escape to the Wilds. Escaping to the Wilds. Broker's Hideout. I don't know, man. Did he grab the Tibalt? Wait, what did he play off the Bring to Light? I'm confused. I'm really confused. I'm really confused. I'm super confused. Well, whatever. -8. Give me all your stuff. Give me all your stuff. Man, there's so much to consider here. It's crazy. Can we still play a land? Lotus Cobra. Nissa. Play a forest. Get some stuff. Play, another Fable. Let's attack for 4. I don't want to go too much crazier with creatures, even though we have an insane amount of value here. A little bit worried about a sweeper coming. So we're just going to end the turn. And then with all the value we have, we should be able to just win next turn. Pretty sure. Pretty sure. We've got to bring to light. Escape to the Wilds, bring to light. We've got a couple sweepers. We've got his ill-timed explosion, and then we also have a Sunfall here. We've got some card draw. We've got Leyline Binding. We have all the removal and draw in the world. We just don't really have board presence. Sure. So our board's going to go bye-bye. But what's important is it goes bye-bye before another Fable flips. Do we want to Leyline Binding? Oh wait, we can't Leyline Binding our own thing. It'd be cool if we could do that to save it. But we can't. So yeah. All of the boys will die. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's gonna kill my Tibalt. 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 Have something we can cast for 2 at instant speed to get a little bit of value right now. Killing a Spelunking is not going to do anything. Really just be Get Lost, right? We could Get Lost or we could Lightning Helix. None of those seem really worth it. Although maybe we Abrupt Decay a Spelunking as well. Alright, we're gonna do it. Abrupt Decay Spelunking. And then Get Lost Spelunking. And then everything comes in tapped. So you don't get to use them this turn. Buddy. Buddy old pal. Buddy old pal of mine. And our Tibalt's gone. Although it is in the graveyard. So there may be a possibility to bring it back. I think we do have something to tutor up. So we're definitely going to bring to light on our turn. And I mean, we're probably just grabbing a Niv-Mizzet, but there's a chance maybe we get something to get back our Tibalt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Most of our treasures are gone, so we're not going to have the ability to play Tibalt if we find it. If we get it back with a reanimator thing. Something that gets it back to our hand from the graveyard. But we could set up for the next turn. I think it's probably better just to find Niv-Mizzet and hope to hit something that can get back the Tibalt with the Niv-Mizzet. Just to make sure we have the value. Alright, so he has all the land. Lotus Field. Has to sack 2 lands. Alright. It's a lot in the yard. Tibalt is gone. Fable do some flippy flip. Let's discard a couple lands. Oh, we have a Niv-Mizzet right there. It's the jumpstart one. So, that'll be good for later. Let's start with Bring to Light. And let's see what we can grab. So, we do have Niv-Mizzet, potentially. We also have Elenda as a potential win condition. 𝐒𝐏𝐿𝐼𝐋𝐄𝐑 Command. Does he have a card left in his hand, or is it... No, it's just the Orient in Exile. 𝐒𝐏𝐿𝐼𝐋𝐄𝐑 Command could be decent. But it's just best to hit the Niv-Mizzet. Try to end the game. Try to find a 𝐒𝐏𝐿𝐼𝐋𝐄𝐑 Command with the Niv-Mizzet, right? A Bring to Light and a Lightning Helix, that's fine. We've got another 5, so we could do it again. He's just gonna scoop it up. Yeah, makes sense. We have the green, we do not have the red, but we do have a Cornucopia, so we're gonna keep it. We're gonna eat some Cornucopium. We're gonna go turn 2 Beanstalk, turn 3 Cornucopia, and hope we're not dead to an aggro deck. Maybe we Caryatid, actually. You know what? Let's get the Caryatid out now before he has a second mana to potentially counter it. We don't want to lose it to a counter spell. That would be awful. Awful, awful, awful. Awful waffle. So we're going to Cornucopia. And then we could up the Beanstalk. I think it's much better to just do this while he doesn't have protection for the Virtuoso. Just kill it, gain some life. We've also got a Clarion, so when he does have protection for a creature, we can do untargeted removal, which is awesome. We are going to need to jam it like super quick. We are going to lose our Caryatid in the process, because if this thing grows too much bigger, too quick, it'll outgrow our ability to kill it with a Clarion. Yeah, see. It's already too big for a Clarion. What's a boy to do? Well, we'll start by drawing a card. Vanishing Verse. Well, we could Vanishing Verse the armor. We could Vanishing Verse the armor. That's probably the smart play. But we can't Vanishing Verse and Clarion in the same turn. So that's a little bit worrisome. Let's pass the turn. think we kind of just have to. And I highly doubt we can get what we need off the Clarion, but keeping our life total as high as possible gives us more turns to get to where we need to. And that could make all the difference. So I think getting rid of it now, before it gets worse, probably a good thing. Oh my god, his... Dude. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me! Well, we'll wipe his board. We lose our Caryatid, but we get rid of all three. He didn't leave mana open to buff that dude up to 4 toughness. We totally capitalized on it. Let's get another up the beanstalk.
Say we take off. Nuke the side from orbit.
We might need to cycle this thing. Play this tapped and pass. Pretty much Dauntless. Pretty much. Hero. When you cast a spell that targets it, it gets a +1/+1 counter. And aura spells cost 1 less. Maybe it's Yorian's time to shine. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're 1 mana short from playing it this turn. Pass the turn. So we're going to cycle the Zayator's Proving Ground, and then Yorion next turn, and draw some cards off of Up the Beanstalk. We should be able to draw 4 cards. 2 from Yorion triggering each of the Up the Beanstalks, and then 1 from each of the Beanstalks coming back into play. Alright, drawing a card. Luckily, he's super low on value. That Clarion was huge. Another Hero of Erois, sure. I mean, I think if they were being smart, they'd only put 1 creature on the field at a time now that they know I have sweepers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. I mean, I kind of want to just be greedy and Hostage Taker. And then play the Erois to shut down the card draw. I think I'm going to do it. He could have that enchantment that gives hexproof as his last card. Oh, he does have protection. But he's using God's Willing. Huh. I'm really, really surprised he's not using the new aura from Duskmourn. That's kind of wild to me. Let's cycle the garden now. Just in case we got a land, because I don't think we made a land drop that turn. Still rather draw with the garden, though. I'd rather draw with the garden, but if we draw into a land that we can't cycle, still better to play it this turn. Alright, so we got Yorion coming in, drawing us 4 cards, and letting us re-trigger the Hostage Taker. He's gonna sheltered it. That makes sense. That makes sense. You own and control. Gain some life. Draw some cards. Can I go full control? I think. Beginning of the next end step. No, it's not worth it. Alright, so enters tapped, play the Caryatid, and then we'll draw some more cards. This is the key turn right here. This turn could make all the difference in the world. Another Sheltered by Ghosts. Oh my god. But we're getting so much back when we kill that guy. Do we take 11? He doesn't have any double strike, right? We're gonna not let him draw a card. Kolaghan's Command. Do we make him discard a card first? Let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Yes, we do. Chances of him having a counterspell are so slim. But we're going to do it anyway. Do we get back a Caryatid? Or do 2 damage? I think we get back a Caryatid. Make him discard a card. Just in case. Just in case. And then we Sunfall. Draw some cards. Keep the Fabled Passages for the Omnaths. Submit 0, right? Or do I have to? Okay. He's just gonna scoop it up. All the value in the world. All the value in the world. We've got Lightning Helix, Night of Autumn, Bring to Light. We've got all the colors we need. We'd have to use Fabled Passage to get green. This seems fine. It's not the absolute best opening hand, but I think we can make it work. Alright, we're going to start with the Triome. Probably play a Mountain on too. Well, I guess it depends, right? We want access to that green for Night of Autumn. So I think we'll just do that. Seeing that she's in Dimir, I think there's a lot less of a chance that we're going to need Lightning Helix on turn 2 to respond to something at instant speed. So we'll just wait. Get our green now, and then we'll have the versatility of being able to cast either next turn. We've got our black from Watery Grave, so it's only a matter of time before we get to Bring to Light. Alright, Founding the Third Path. Plays Grisly Salvage. Reveals the top. Put a creature or land. Sire of 7 Deaths. What is this deck? Good lord. Sire of 7 Deaths. Is this a meta deck or is this a brew? If anybody has an idea, let me know in chat. Because this seems really interesting, but also really weird. Hey, thanks for the follow, Simon. I appreciate it. Let's Night of Autumn and get rid of the Founding the Third Path so he can't get his value, or she can't get her value out of the yard. Mana Confluence, Urborg Scavengers. Oh. She's trying to scavenge the Sire to get all the value, all the keywords. That makes sense. That makes sense. Let me think. We got Lightning Helix and we got Vanishing Verse. Neither of those are going to be able to stop. Guess we probably hold up the Lightning Helix. And save the Vanishing Verse because she has a lot less mana right now. So she grabbed the Hexproof and now she's going to grab everything else, which is gnarly. But I mean, I think it's fine. We just need to find our value, and we should be okay. We just need to find our value. No blocks. Is she holding up a counter spell? There's a chance, but I don't know if she's running too many of those, honestly. I really, really don't. Do we try to get Omnath out and bait a potential counterspell? Save our Bring to Light? Or do we just go for it? I think this is going to take over the game really quick and we just kind of need to pull the trigger. Here's hoping. Here's hoping. Alright, it's going through. Now we could Sunfall. That's a thing we could do. That might be worth it. It's either Sunfall or Niv-Mizzet. Honestly, I think we got a Sunfall. Get her win condition off the field. And then we have a much better chance of winning things. Even though we lose a lot in the process and we lose the chance to just grab our value. That thing being off the field is huge. Huge, huge, huge. Because she was just going to ride that to victory. Alright, we've got 𝐒𝐏𝐻. Mill 2, return a non-land of an opponent's choice. He's going to Neo-form the 𝐒𝐏𝐻. She's going to Neo-form the 𝐒𝐏𝐻 for an 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝑑𝑒. That's fine. We cannot Vanishing Verse the 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝑑𝑒. So maybe it's not fine. Maybe it's not fine. Let's see, we've got another Neo-form. We've got a Soul Flare. This deck's crazy. See, I thought the whole deck was trying to build up the scavengers. But she's got all of these, like, other valuable plays she can do. Stuff with, like, Neo-form. Which is just nuts. So we need to wipe again. And we can't. Indestructible. That's okay. We can exile it with Vanishing Verse. Right? Go up to 8 life. Dude, we're so close. We go up to 8 life if we play the Cornucopia first. But then we're 1 mana short of also playing the Lightning Helix. Dude, this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. So we can't play the Cornucopia. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna have to just Vanishing Verse this. Oh no! That uses up our only white so that we can't Lightning Helix. Oh, that feels so bad. Yeah, she kills us with the 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝑑𝑒e. We could have Lightning Helixed her head and then been alive at 1. But we don't have another white source. So, no matter which way you sliced it, we were 1 mana off. This is a decent hand, though. We've got all of our colors for Kolaghan's Command, Ancient Cornucopia, Knight of Autumn. Easy keep. Easy keep. Probably just try to get the Cornucopia down first. But pivot and cast one of the other cards if absolutely necessary. So, if we want access to green or white, we're going to need the tomb. So turn 1 garden. Turn 2 might be a tapped tomb, although holding up a Vanishing Verse might be a good idea. Yeah. We'll hold up Vanishing Verse here. It does mean we're going to have to spend 2 life. To play the thing we want to play. Right? Cornucopia. He's got Pillage the Bog. Lucky for us, he's 1 mana short of playing the thing he finds with it this turn. If he's looking for, like, his big card. Like Bring to Light or something. Alright, Pillage the Bog, finds a thing. Sylvan Caryatid. I think we just probably Bring to Light. We don't have a way to kill the Caryatid, that's for sure. So let's not make the same mistake I made last time when I was in a mirror match. Trying to stop him from getting his Bring to Light, let's instead make sure we hit ours. Do we want Tibalt or do we want Niv? Guess we go for Tibalt. I guess we go for Tibalt. Since the board state's pretty clear, and there isn't a good chance that he can swing in and put pressure on killing the Tibalt, it's probably a good idea to get him down sooner and have as many turns as possible getting value off of him. Can't be Vanishing Versed. Can't be killed with a lot of the removal that this deck runs. There's a few things that can. The Leyline Binding can. But it does dodge a lot of the potential removal that he has. If he's running a similar deck list to mine. Oh, there's the Leyline Binding. And what's crazy about that is even if we get rid of the Leyline Binding, it just comes back as the creature. Which, I mean, we can do. He wants to give us the creature by bouncing the Binding, right? So we are going to Knight of Autumn. Seems pretty good. Destroy an artifact or enchantment. And then we'll get to look at his hand with the Tibalt. I mean, I guess we're getting our value, right? It wasn't the worst thing in the world that he used a Leyline Binding on us. So, Vanishing Verse, Deafening Clarion. It's almost definitely going to Deafening Clarion, but he'd have to kill his own thing. If we had 5 mana, we could become a copy. We do not have 5 mana. So now the question becomes, do we need 3 mana? Target player discards a card. Get a creature back. Alright, Kolaghan's Command's actually pretty good for us next turn. We're just going to hold up some interaction. And pass the turn. He's almost definitely going to Clarion. and play the land and just have the verse left, and then next turn we Kolaghan's Command, we get rid of the verse, or maybe something better that he top decks, and we get back either our Valky or a Knight of Autumn. Maybe at this point the Valky, because we can actually hard cast it pretty soon. Can't cast the Yorion yet. Play the land. Play the land.
Let's rock!
Hey, what's up, Army? Welcome to the stream. He played the land. Is he going to play anything else? He says no. He says, I've had enough. So we definitely want a Kolaghan's Command. 1000%. Right? 1000%. What else do we have enough mana for? Anything that's 3. Well, we'll start with this. Target player discards and return a creature. We'll get back to Valky. Make him discard. He's either losing his interaction, losing his Yorion, or losing his mystery card. All of those things are probably good for us. He chooses to get rid of Yorion, so this must be like a Bring to Light or something. Well, we'll up the Beanstalk, and he'll probably Vanishing Verse it. I think it made sense to make him discard first, though, because maybe he discards the Vanishing Verse and then he can't. I think the cat is up to no good. I think the cat is up to no good. We still get to draw a card. And we'll pass and hold up the Leyline Binding. We are 1 mana off from hard casting our Tibalt. Let's try to draw some gas. I don't really care about getting Omnath out until we have a land to use it with. We could get Elenda and just start riding it, or we could play the Fable. Let's Omnath. Aww. We don't even get to cast a swamp. Because of the trigger. It's fine. We'll pass. At the end of his turn, we'll Binding his Binding. And get our Omnath back, and then go nuts with Fabled Passage next turn. It ought to be pretty wild. Like, I think we might be able to just... Yeah, we're going to be able to play Tibalt and have our Omnath and probably have mana left over for something else. Which is kind of nuts. Sure. Abrupt Decay. So we're going to Leyline Binding, his Leyline Binding. Oh wait, it was his Omnath. I didn't realize. I thought the Binding was his and the Omnath was ours. It was the other. The Omnath came from him and the Binding came from us. Oopsie. That makes things trickier. But I don't think it's too problematic, though. He does get to draw a card there, which is a bummer. But now we can just exile it with our Tibalt. And then we can still play it later. Just sets us back a turn. Even if I had realized that, I think it would still probably have been the right play. Unbound the bindings. I feel like a gimp. So much binding happening. Alright. Bring to light. The problem is you have to catch up. More bindings than the Japanese section. Okay, so it's gonna dig for cards. Gets a Lightning Helix, a Bring to Light, a Vanishing Verse, and a Maelstrom Pulse. Wow, that's a really good hit. You lucky duck. Well, we're gonna play Omnath. Then we're gonna Fabled. Find... I think we need white more than anything. And now we have another, what, 9 mana? We can't kill the Niv. Let's exile the top 2 with the Tibalt, see what we get. Another Omnath. This is tricky. He's got another Bring to Light. We can't kill his Niv. But we can do this. And then hold up a little bit of interaction. Since he didn't manage to find a sweeper off the Niv, I feel like we can kind of go wide. Elenda is going to be really, really hard to deal with. And we just need to try and take advantage of being ahead on the board and having a creature that's really hard to deal with. And that is that. We actually have him very close to dead. Oh, he can just find the Tibalt now and exile the Elenda with the Tibalt. Oh, it might be over. It might be over. It might be over. Nope, he's going Deadly Cover-Up. I mean, that's better than finding a Tibalt, right? Because everything's in our yard, we can theoretically still get it back. If we can get the Niv that jump starts, we can use Kolaghan's command to get either Tibalt or Elenda back into our hand. Elenda feels like she could just win the game on her own. So we'll see what he actually gets rid of. I think he's going to make the choice for us. What did he get rid of? Oh, he got rid of the Bring to Lights. Almost feel like that might be okay. Let's discard lands that damage us. Get more lands, I guess. We'll play Omnath. He's going to have to Maelstrom Pulse on his next turn to get rid of Omnath. But we can Niv-Mizzet Reborn this turn. So now he has to get rid of, like, both. Do we want Lightning Helix? I think we'd rather have Lightning Helix and maybe be able to close out the game quicker. We don't need the extra mana right now. We've only got interaction, so I'm not going to worry about trying to get the second trigger off Omnath by playing the Fabled Passage. Okay, Maelstrom Pulses that guy, which means he can't kill the Omnath unless he's got something else. He can take the Cornucopia. Really surprised he didn't destroy the binding so that he could bind in my Omnath. Very surprising. Alright, we need to draw cards. How do we draw cards? By casting Yorion and flickering our Omnath. And or our reflection. Let's start by swinging. Let's go Fabled Passage. Let's find a land. At this point I don't really think it matters which land. We'll grab a mountain. Put Yorion in our hand. Recast Yorion. Flicker, flicker. I mean, we could do the Leyline Binding, right? That's actually good because if he bindings our Yorion, we get to do it again, which is awesome. Yeah, that's perfect. That's amazing. We'll draw a card. I guess we play a Caryatid. And then end of turn, everything comes back. We get some value. We exile the Leyline Binding and get our Yorion back. And this time we do not get rid of the binding. Alright. Just get all the value and start trying to ride it to victory. The win cons in this deck are big beefy creatures and stealing our opponent's stuff with Tibalt. So like Niv-Mizzet swings in for 6 in the air. Elenda is usually a 10/10 that swings in with Menace. Can't be killed by instants. And then the backside of Valky, Tibalt, can just get us an insane amount of value and let us use our opponent's win conditions. There's also Yorion in the air as well. And the last few bits of damage could be Lightning Helix. That's why I grabbed that other Lightning Helix off of our Niv-Mizzet. See what he's got. Vanishing Verse, the Leyline Binding. Leyline Binding the Yorion? Really? That idea. You're just giving us so much more value. And we have all the life in the world, so it doesn't even matter. The kitten's even excited. Kitten. Kitten. Alright. Go on. It's kind of 4D chess. Abrupt Decay the Fable. Again, we get another piece of removal out of his hand. We still get some value off of it. All of that feels awesome. Let's Pillage the Bog. We find... Dude, there's so much we could do. There's so much we could do. We're gonna find Niv-Mizzet Supreme. 3, 4, 5. That leaves us with 4, potentially 5, 6. Three. Swing, get some treasure, see if he trades with our Omnath. Looks like he is. That's fine. We're gonna Kolaghan's Command, make him discard and return a creature. We're gonna get back Valki. We're gonna make him discard his Lightning Helix. And we're going to have to discard a land to do it. Let's discard the Verge. And we've got 2 mana. 3 mana actually with the Caryatid, right? Well, let's just play out as far as headquarters and end the turn. So we Tibalt next turn. We're swinging in with 9, right? Seems pretty good. Let's see what he draws. Like, we have lethal with the 2 Lightning Helixes. So, we'll Lightning Helix you this turn. Just to make sure we can do even more on our turn. And then we can just jumpstart the Lightning Helix so we can just nuke him into oblivion. Just nuke him into oblivion. But for funsies, I really want to play Tibalt again.
Trickery is just a hobby. Chaos.
For funsies. We've got lands, sure. We'll crack, find whatever, doesn't even really matter. And we'll swing in. Since the Helixes are instant, we can just respond to potential removal on the Niv-Mizzet Supreme. And still cast the Helixes if we want. Return a creature, deal 2 damage. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you still die. Because we can recast Lightning Helix. And I don't think he realizes it. So we just jumpstart. We jumpstart, and that is it. Good night, Casual Magic Club. Put up a good fight. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.